Okay, we are recording. Yay, the wind held off for us today. Woohoo! Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga by the Pool. I have Melissa here. Yes, that's for you, Melissa. And I have Joanne. So good to see you in the backyard again. So good. And I think Fern is coming over too. And all of you online, thank you so much for joining me. So in this month of June, I have been using our themes in terms of participant requests. And we have a request today for low back, which we haven't spent a lot of time recently on low back. Hi, Fern, come on in. So low back is our theme today. So we're going to be doing a lot of moving through the spine, both flexion and extension, side bending, lateral flexion, some rotation as well, just to really loosen up that low back. And also I'm going to focus a little bit on IT band. So if you have a yoga strap, you might need that, perhaps a yoga block as well. So let's come down on our hands and knees in child's pose to begin. And we will be kneeling for a little bit. So if you need some padding for your knees, that might be nice to go ahead and get your knees all cushioned and nice and comfortable. So let's come into your child's pose. Take a nice big stretch in through those shoulders. Set your hips back toward your heels a little bit and just begin to breathe and start to ground and focus today on your practice and on your body, on your breath, on your muscles and bones and joints, especially that lower back. And then just gently rise up to your hands and knees. As you do, drop your belly down, lift your tailbone, slightly gaze forward into cow. Then round your back up to cat and push back toward your heels again into that child's pose. And as you come forward to cow, you can bend your elbows, gliding your chest forward, and then press up, rounding the back, pressing back into your child's pose. Just start to make this a flow, almost a little ripple of your back, waving from extension into flexion. And we're bending our elbows and pressing up. And notice what your head does as well. So look forward to the top of your mat as you glide, and then look towards your knees as you press back into that child's pose. Following the breath. 2 more repetitions. And 1 more, glide forward, cow. Round the back up, cat, and back to child's pose. Then come to stationary hands and knees. Extend your right leg back as you gaze forward. And then pull your knee in toward your chest, looking toward the knee, round your back. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, pull that knee in. So we'll add a little bit of a bend of the elbows again as we did before. So as you extend that leg back into your cow, bend your elbows a little bit, bringing your chest down to the floor. Press up and away and pull the knee in toward your chest. And you can make this a small little bend of your elbows and start to grow that range of motion as the shoulders and triceps feel it's okay to come down a little deeper. And this is like a chaturanga. So we want to have our elbows pointing back behind us, not out to the sides of our body. Let's do 1 more on this side. Then extend that right leg out long and hold. Pick up your left hand and just hold spinal balance. 3 breaths. Make a connection with your core And try to find as neutral a spine as you can, so not sagging the back or curving it upward. Come back to both hands and both knees. Extend that left leg straight back. Inhale and gaze forward. Exhale and pull the knee in toward your chest and round the back. We'll do a couple of these before we start to add the bend of the elbows. And then when you're ready, extending it out, inhale, bend your elbows, maybe just a tiny amount. Press away and round the back. And then start to explore the range of motion in your arms. This is a modification of scorpion pose. Make sure you're breathing. And notice your spine really warming up through flexion and extension. Shoulders warming, wrists, elbows. 2 more repetitions. And 1 more, lengthen. Press away, round the back. Then extend that left leg long behind you. Pick your right hand up off the mat and hold spinal balance. So as you're holding, see if you can tweak your alignment a little bit more. Try to straighten the back leg a little more vigorously and pull in your abdominals. 1 more breath. And then return the hands and knees back to the mat. We'll take a thread the needle 1 time on the right side. So lift that right arm up, stretch, and then just thread that arm under and relax here in a twist. Left arm can reach way above your head toward the top of your mat, or we can bring that hand and wrap it behind our back. And just start to notice this stretch in through the upper back and mid back. There's not much rotation here in your lower back. It's pretty neutral, but maybe there's a little bit of a back bend. And then press back into the left hand, reaching the right arm up. Inhale. Set that right hand back down to your mat. We'll repeat to the left side. Reach that left arm up, stretch, and thread the needle through, relaxing the shoulder down. And then choosing your position with that right arm. And notice the weight that's distributed between your knees. Try to even it out so there's not more weight on your left knee than on your right knee. And then press that right palm back into the mat. Inhale, lift the left arm, stretch it up. And then both hands onto the mat. Extend your right leg straight back behind you and point your toes down to the floor. And bring your right leg out to the right side and turn your head and look at your foot. And make sure your toes are pointing down so your thigh is parallel. Then bring that leg clear around to the other side. Look over your left shoulder and try to find your foot. I just want you to move slowly from side to side. So with the right leg, we're doing inner and outer thigh hip movements. So hip abduction and adduction. With the waistline, we're bending our spine from side to side. So that's our lateral flexion of the spine. With our head, we've got rotation to the right and to the left. And we're letting our elbows softly bend any amount as we go from one side to the other. 1 more each direction. And then take that leg all the way out to the right side. Put your foot down onto the floor and bring yourself up into gate pose position. We'll take a little side bend to the left side. See if you can reach your fingertips down. Stretch. And then bring it up to the other direction. Stretch. And just 2 more each way. And try not to twist the spine. Keep everything in alignment. Shoulders and hips square. 1 more time each side. And then come through the center. Reach your fingertips right down in front of you. And try to walk into child's pose from here. So nice extended child's pose. See if you can bring your forehead down to the floor. Get a big stretch for your shoulders. If you want, you can slide that right leg out a little farther to stretch your inner thigh more. And let's take 3 breaths here. And then walk your hands back in toward you. That right foot that's out to the side, I want you to step it to the front of your mat and come into a kneeling lunge. We'll reach the arms up nice and high for a beautiful hip flexor stretch. And then place the palms at your heart center. Start to turn your body to the right. See how far you can twist. And then take your left hand and plant it across your right thigh. Wrap your right arm behind you. And look way over that right shoulder. And 2 more breaths here. Keep dropping down into that left hip flexor. Then we'll unwrap the back arm. Come back to face the front. Reach your fingertips down toward the mat and straighten out this front leg. Pull back the heel. And we'll take a few breaths here in our kneeling hamstring stretch. There's a lot of variations for this. You might be up on a block or have your hands up on a chair if your hamstrings are really tight. Some people like to sit all the way back on the back heel. That's an option. Or you can slide that front foot forward and take more of a Hanumanasana split. And we'll just be here 3 more breaths. And I like to pull the toes up to lengthen the calf muscle just a little more. And then what we're going to do is take both hands and try to bring them over to the outside of your right foot and twist a little here. So this is going to give you a stretch in the outside of that right hip into that IT band area. If the hamstring's pretty tight, for you it might look more upright here. And this is okay as well. Let's take 2 more breaths here with that little rotation. And then bring both hands on the other side of that right leg. Swing it around to come back to your hands and knees and come into a child's pose stretch. Just kind of noticing the differences in feeling between the right leg and the left at this moment. And then we'll rise back up to hands and knees. Send your left leg straight back behind you. Flex your foot. Bring it out to the left side and look at your foot. It should be pointing down, the toes down. And then sweep it all the way across to the right side. You might not be able to see your foot on that side, but go through a range of motion that is your range, looking from side to side. And while we're stretching the size of the waist here, we're also strengthening. So I want you to use those muscles of your core to pull the waistline together. And make sure you're breathing. You can inhale one direction Exhale the other. And notice your neck here as you rotate from side to side. Let's take one more each direction. And bring that leg all the way out to the left side. Plant the foot onto the floor. Walk your hands in and come up to gate pose. Side stretch over to the right until your fingertips touch. Really stretch the left arm toward your ear. Then pull yourself up and stretch the opposite direction. And go nice and slow. And we're strengthening the side waist as well as stretching. So wonderful to work both strength and flexibility at the same time. Moving with the breath. One more each direction. And come back to the center. Reach the hands down in front of you. Walk the fingertips forward as far as you can reach into an extended child's pose position. And I'm ever slightly tipping my sits bones back behind me to tip the pelvis. You can also walk that left foot a little wider to get more of a stretch through your inner thigh. Or you can be up more upright or up on a block. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And we'll slowly walk our hands in. That left foot that is out to the side will step forward into your kneeling lunge. Take your time to get there so you get that foot out underneath the knee or maybe even slightly ahead of the knee and reach the arms up. Anjaneyasana. Start to feel that stretch right here through that right hip flexor. Press the palms at heart center. Start to turn to the left. So maybe you just stay right here, continuing to press the palms, or bring the right hand across the left knee and the left hand to wrap behind your back and look over that left shoulder. Stabilize into that left foot, all 4 corners of the foot, and keep sinking down into the right hip. 2 more breaths. And then come back to the center, reach your fingertips down, slowly straighten out that front leg any amount to shift back into your hamstring stretch. So your block's a good tool here to place your hands on. And then choose any variation that you like for this pose to really experience the best stretch for your body. Keep breathing. Try to find that neutral spinal alignment. If you can, pull your toes up to lengthen your calf muscle. Two more breaths here, straight forward. And then we'll fine tune this to include the IT band, bringing both hands to the outside of your left foot. Create some rotation here. It doesn't have to be much. 3 breaths. And then walk your hands back to the other side of the leg. Just gently swing it around to come back to both hands and knees and extend yourself into child's pose. 2 breaths here. And then pull yourself forward, back to your hands and knees. Tuck your toes under and pick your knees up maybe 2 inches off the mat. So this looks like all fours tabletop, but your knees are not touching the floor. We call this bear pose. So from bear, lift your hips way up to the ceiling, press down into your heels, and stretch into down dog. Then inhale to come forward into bear, almost touching your knees to the floor. Exhale to push the hips up and stretch the backs of the legs. We'll take 3 more repetitions from bear pose and up to down dog. 2 more. Nice level neutral spine in bear. All the way up to down dog, pressing off of the hands, stretching the shoulders. And 1 more to bear pose. And up to down dog, pressing those heels. We'll walk our feet together a little closer toward one another and lift the right leg up into 3-legged dog and point the foot and flex. Point and flex. If your wrists are getting a little tired, let your elbows lower down to the mat. You can even drop your bottom knee down. Now flex that foot and hold. Bend your knee and straighten. Bend the knee and straighten. Bend your knee and hold. Rotate the knee open to the right and close it back down. Open it out to the right. You're turning your pelvis and close it down. Open it out to the right and hold. Keep dropping your left heel down to the mat. Feel that nice stretch through your right hip flexor. 1 more breath. Then close the knee in. Straighten the leg. Drop the foot down to down dog. And drop the knees to relax the shoulders and wrists in child's pose. If you want, you can bring your hands around to the sides of your body to really relax the shoulders and give your wrists a couple circles around. So remember, modifying on this pose is absolutely fine. So as we come back up, you can do this from your hands and knees. You can do it from your elbows. We'll press up from bear pose all the way up to down dog. Drop your heels. Walk your feet together a little closer. Lift your left leg up into 3-legged dog, and we will point and flex. Point, flex. Flex the foot and hold. Bend the knee and extend. And when you bend the knee, try not to drop the knee down. So the upper leg is staying really still in its place. Bend the knee and hold. Open your left hip to the side. You're turning your pelvis and then rotate it back in. Open it out to the side and bring it in. Open it side and hold. Keep dropping your right heel down. The leg is lifting as high as you can, rotating it out as much as you can. 1 more breath. Then drop that knee back in. Extend the leg to straight. Lower the leg down to the mat. And rest the knees into child's pose. Ooh, that was a pretty vigorous sequence on the arms. So relax those shoulders. Maybe stretch your wrists a little bit. Give them some circles. And then walk those hands back out And we'll come to stand in mountain pose at the top of our mat. So you can push up to down dog if you'd like. Walk your feet toward your hands all the way. And then soften your knees, circle sweep the arms out and up, extend fingertips, and press your palms at your heart in mountain pose. Sit your hips back into chair pose. And then rise up and reach maybe a baby back bend. And sink into chair. And reach. 2 more. Exhale, chair. Inhale, lift. 1 more. And lift, hold. Now we'll sit into a chair to the right side twist. Rotate. Reach up. Left side twist. Reach up. 2 more each side. One more each direction. Look way over that right shoulder. Twist and up. Over the left, twist. Reach up and hold. Swan dive into forward bend. Clasp your elbows and hang in ragdoll pose. Now just notice your lower back here. If you're feeling a lot of tension in your lower back, bring your fingertips up to your shins or maybe onto a chair or wall in front of you and take a little bit less of a forward fold and flatten that back out a little bit more. Then release your hands down to the floor. We'll flow through our forward fold. Inhaling, circle sweep the arms, come up. Exhale, swan dive into your forward fold. At your own pace. And our focus is on the lower back. So as you come forward, feel that lengthening happening from the lower back, all along the glutes, down the backs of the legs. And we'll take 1 more. Sweep up. And swan dive, forward bend. Inhale, sweep up. Press the palms. Twist your chair to the right side. Reach up, hold. Swan dive into forward bend. Rise back up, press palms. Twist your chair to the left side. Rise back up, inhale. Swan dive, forward fold. At your own pace, let's take 2 more each direction, twisting to the right. Bend your knees deeply, sit back into your heels, reach up, forward fold. Inhale, stretch, twist to the left. Inhale, up, swan dive. We have 1 more on each side. Exhale fully into that twist. Look over your shoulder. Inhale deeply. One more each, or 1 more to the left. Inhale all the way up. Swan dive into forward fold. And step your right foot back for warrior 1. So we'll turn that foot out just a little bit on an angle. Rise up to warrior 1 and we'll take goalpost arms. So your elbows are slightly below your shoulders. Elbows are pulling back. Squeeze this right glute to release the front of your hip. And then rotate the palms to face behind you and either bring your hands to your hips or interlace your hands behind your back and come into chest expansion. You can also hold your yoga strap behind you if that feels more comfortable. And we'll prepare for humble warrior. So start to slowly bow forward, bringing your left shoulder toward that front thigh. Relax your head and try to lift your arms up any amount from your back body. Now, in this position, you can take a peek at the bottom of your right foot, so one that's behind you, and make sure you have a little space under your arch, that you're not rolling inward on your ankle. So press to the outside edge of that right foot and lift the arch up. One more breath. Then slowly start to rise back up. Release those hands back to goalpost arms. And then straighten out the front leg. Again, we can bring hands to our hips or behind us and begin to come into pyramid. So similar pose, but now the front leg is straight rather than bent. So we come down any amount. Might feel more comfortable for you to release your hands and to place them on a block or on a chair. You can also place them gently on your front shin. Just try not to press on your knee, so we don't want to lock that joint out. And let's take 3 slow sinking breaths, coming deeper into this pose. Releasing the low back, 2 more breaths. And then slowly peel yourself back up. Rebend your front knee, coming into warrior 1, goalpost arms. Then we'll press the palms at heart center and step the back foot forward to chair pose. And the front foot steps back, warrior 1 position. Squaring off your hips, a little bit of a turnout in that back foot. Open out into goalpost, pull those elbows back, the shoulder blades back. And breathe. Keep the abdominals braced. Then rotate your palms to face behind. Either place your hands at your hips or interlace behind your back. Roll your shoulder blades together. Bend that front knee deeply, starting to come down into your humble warrior pose. And you can curve your spine a little bit here in humble warrior. Let that lower back relax. If it feels uncomfortable for you to have the hands interlaced, go ahead and release them and bring the hands down, maybe supporting on a block. And I want you to look at the bottom of your left foot behind you and make a space under your arch. Lift it up, pressing gently into the outside of your foot. 2 more breaths, really relaxing your neck. Then press down into that front foot to propel your body back up. Releasing the clasp of the hands, come back to goalpost. Looking for good posture here. Then we'll straighten out the front leg. Again, bringing your hands to your hips maybe or behind your body. Start to hinge forward into your pyramid. So if you have tight hamstrings, you might be up here, and that's good. It's all about where do you feel the stretch start to happen in your hamstring, and then you can explore that a little bit further as you breathe. And there could be a very big difference between one side of your body and the other. So be respectful of that. And we'll take 3 sinking breaths here. And the sinking breath means we exhale twice as long as the duration of our in-breath. One more breath. And make your way back up. Starting to rebend the front knee as you go. Back to our warrior 1 with goalpost arms. And press the palms at your heart. Step the back foot into chair pose. Inhale, circle sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive into forward bend. Walk yourself back to plank pose. So from your plank, you can drop your knees, you can stay on your toes, you can lower your elbows down to the mat, anything you choose here. We'll stay here 2 breaths, nice and strong. Pushing away from the earth to connect with your chest muscles. And then either from the knees or toes, lower all the way down to your belly. We'll work on strengthening the lower back with a nice baby cobra. So your hands can be on the mat, but I don't want you to use your arms vigorously to push yourself up. We'll use our back muscles and lift the chest away from the floor and lower down. And again, lift up. Now your gaze should still be down at the mat. So when you lift up, I don't want you to jet your chin forward and shorten the back of your neck. Lower down. And one more, lift up and hold. Hold that chest up and turn your head to the right. Turn it to the center. Turn your head to the left and to the center. Then place your hands right in front of you, one on top of the other, and let your forehead rest down onto your hands. So from here, we will lift the entire upper body away from the floor, and your arms are going to come up with you. So as we lift the chest, now your elbows come up off the mat, and then we come down. 2 more, lift. Strengthening those spinal extensors, and come down. 1 more, come up and hold. Now turn the right elbow up to the ceiling. So you're turning your body. Come back to the center. Left elbow comes up. And to the center. And relax the head down. Now activate both legs. Pressing the tops of your feet into the floor. Squeeze the right glute and lift the right leg up away from the mat, any amount. And set it back down. Left leg lifts and down. 1 more on each leg. All right, we can continue just the leg only, or reach your fingertips out ahead of you into Superman position. And my forehead is just a couple of inches off the floor, head is neutral. Lift the right leg and the left arm up. Come down and switch. Left leg, right arm. And just alternate these at your own pace. This exercise is called contralateral raise. One of the best exercises for strengthening the muscles of the spine and strengthening the SI joint. If it's difficult for you to pick up the hand and the foot, you can come to your hands and knees and alternate this in spinal balance. Let's take 1 more on each side. And then see if you can pick both legs up, both hands up, and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the legs. Bring the palms of your hands under your shoulders. Give yourself a push up to your knees and back to child's pose and relax your back muscles. Ooh, should have really felt those muscles connecting in the back body. So we'll transition now to come onto your back and make sure that you have your yoga strap with you. Get my little visor back on. Woo, are you guys sweating? Yes. The sun's moving around in the backyard too. I'm going to grab a little swig of water here. Okay, we are going to focus on our IT band. And it's really most beneficial if you have your yoga strap. So come on down onto your back, get yourself nice and comfy, and bring that strap under the bottom of your right foot. Extend it up and stretch. So you can keep this left knee bent on the floor. This makes the stretch more accessible if you have tight hamstrings because it helps to tip your hips underneath. If you want more, straighten that bottom leg, which then tips your hips the other way. It gives you a little release for the hip flexor and more intensity for your hamstring. The foot is flexed, the thigh is parallel. And I want you to get your legs straight. So if for you and hamstrings are tight, if it looks like this to get your legs straight, that's okay. Use that strap and then work that leg up a little higher as you go and as you breathe to find more length. But don't take it to the point where you're straining the muscle or the muscle is shaking. So once we have our leg up as high as we can comfortably bring it, take the strap in your left hand so you have an opposite grip. Your right arm opens out on the mat, and we are just going to bring this foot across our body a tiny bit. So I'm not twisting my torso. So what I don't want you to do is roll all the way over. So I want you to keep your pelvis flat and just pull your leg across. And that's where we get the IT band to stretch and release. So for some of us, the IT band, which stands for illio-tibial band, it connects at the ilium, the hip, and at the tibia, which is one of the bones in your lower leg. That's on the outside of the thigh, and it gets really tight if you do a lot of bicycling, a lot of running and hiking, those kind of things, which a lot of us are doing right now. And so we want to lengthen out that area. And it's not really a muscle. It's a really big, fibrous, connective tissue, kind of more like a ligament. And so it's really very difficult to stretch, and we have to hold this a little bit longer. So let's stay here maybe another 30 seconds and slow down your breathing. See if you can straighten your leg a little more. See if you can pull your leg toward you a little more. And then a tiny bit across. And 3 more breaths. Slow sinking breaths with long exhalations. And then we'll take a counter stretch. So as this leg comes back up through the middle, switch the strap to your right hand. Take your left arm to the outside and then open that right leg out as much as you can. You still have it as straight as you can. Hold toward you as much as you can. And it's nice when you're using the yoga strap because you can anchor it by tightening your bicep muscle on your right arm, anchoring your elbow to the floor, and just let the strap act like a hammock, a little sling for your leg just to relax in. And we breathe. Two more slow sinking breaths. And then bring that leg right up to the center Give your hamstring one more little stretch here. And then allow your knee to bend. You can pull it into your chest. And now we'll come into a twist by pulling this right knee across the body. Right arm is out to the side, and we take our gaze over to the right side. And really let your lower back relax. I'm using my left hand to kind of pull that knee across. So I even feel a gentle stretch in the outside of my right hip. And breathe into the ribs twice more. And then bring that knee back to center. And relax your right foot down to the floor, and we'll prepare to stretch the same sequence on the left leg. So taking the ball of your foot up through your yoga strap, and then you can choose to keep your right foot on the floor or extend it out to straight. And begin to take your time here to explore your hamstring flexibility on this leg. So what's most important is we get the leg straight, because the hamstring crosses two joints. It crosses at your sitting bone, so the hip joint, and it crosses behind your knee. So we want to have a stretch at both of those ends and attachments of the muscle. So once you've gotten the leg straight, then start to gently pull it up, up, up until you find your edge. And that edge may change over the course of several breaths. Now we find the IT band. So holding onto your strap with your right hand, your left arm goes out. And we just barely pull that leg across the midline a little bit. If you're pretty tight, it might take only 2 inches to move it and really feel that connection in the IT band. Now, I didn't mention this on the other side, but if you take your ankle and you roll it in, kind of turn your foot inward like a pigeon toe, that's going to send a really nice stretch down the outside of your calf muscle into the peroneus longus, which is an area we don't often stretch as well. So let's stay here about another 30 seconds. Slow breath. See if you can straighten that leg out a little more. Fine tune your stretch. 3 more breaths. And then we'll take our counter stretch for the inner thigh, switching the strap to your left hand. Right arm goes out to the mat, and gently open that leg out to your full range of motion. And try to relax the inner thigh. If you're tightening up that muscle to try to keep the leg up, then you're not going to really experience the fullness of the stretch. We've got to soften and relax and surrender to that position. Back to your sinking breath. Last 2 breaths here. And then we'll slowly bring that leg back to the midline. Hang out there in your hamstring stretch just a little bit longer. And then we'll bend the right knee into the chest to prepare for our twist. So I'll hold the right knee or left knee with my right hand, and pull it across the midline of the body and look out toward the left fingertips. Both shoulder blades are on the mat. And then we take some breaths into the rib cage. Fill the space in the ribs. Two more breaths here. And then realign that knee back to center. We'll take both legs straight up in legs up the wall position. And if you do have your yoga strap, sometimes it's nice to just hook both feet into your strap and then you can hold on to it, holding your feet up. If not, just keep them up there of their own accord. And we'll stay in legs up the wall just a few breaths. Legs up the wall has many benefits, but we're bringing the blood and all of the fluid that kind of gets stuck in our lower body if we're on our feet a lot, causing swelling in the ankles, sends all that back toward the heart. Our lymphatic fluid as well, which helps to stimulate our body's immune system. You can flex and point your ankles, maybe make some circles. It's also nice if you have a yoga block with you, you can slip it right under your hips, which slightly elevates the hips a little and helps that blood flow to come back to the heart since the body's on a little bit of an angle. Now I want you to choose. Do you like legs up the wall? You can stay here. If you like happy baby, we can separate the feet a little bit, bring the knees down into the chest and reach up for the bottoms of the feet and pull those knees right into the armpits. If you prefer knee circles, you can hug your knees into your chest. And I just want you to feel a release in your lower back. If you're in happy baby, you can rock a little side to side as well. And then we'll do 10 bicycle crunches on each side for a little bit of core strengthening with rotation. So either feet can be on the floor for a level 1, and we bring an elbow across to the knee and switch. For a little bit more strenuous level, your feet are off the floor, and we rotate across and across. 10 on each side. Zipping up the abdominals, gently drawing in navel to spine. 5 more each side. Exhale on the twist. 3, 3, 2, 1 more each side. And then relax your head down, relax your feet, and we'll finish our back sequence in bridge pose. So feet flatten, about hips distance apart. Gently lift the pelvis up off the mat, roll yourself up any height, and we'll just hold. So many variations for bridge. If you like a supported bridge, you can slide your block underneath your hips and just relax your legs and hold that supported bridge. We can also interlace our hands behind our back and come into chest expansion. Roll your shoulders together, tipping your body a little bit from side to side, and really walk your feet in towards your glutes and press your hips way up. Relax your neck. Slightly squeeze your glutes to free up those hip flexors. A great lower back strengthener as well here. Feel your hamstrings working. And we'll take 2 more breaths. And take your time to lower your body back down onto the mat, rolling down one bone at a time. And then you can either roll over to your side to sit yourself up or hug your knees in toward your chest and roll like a ball forward and back a couple of times until you have the momentum to bring yourself all the way up to seated. How are we feeling in the backyard? Good, excellent. All right, coming into our cross-leg pose, we'll take one more twist each direction. So really sit up tall here. Start to rotate to the right, bringing the left hand across the right knee, the right hand behind you, and take your gaze well over that shoulder. Coming back to center, make your way over to the left side with a nice long spine. Turning your gaze as far as you can behind you. And back to the center. One side bend each direction, over to the right, open up the ribs, lengthen through the fingertips. And to the left side stretch. And up. And then bring the soles of your feet to connect one another. And we'll fold through the space for Baddha Konasana. For me, this is one of the best lower back stretches. I really do feel it in that lumbar spine. Maybe your pose is a little bit more free in this position, but you might feel those inner thighs releasing, the hips opening. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. And bring your spine up to neutral. Extend your fingertips behind you. See if you can touch the floor back behind you. Lift your heart and open up. Then back to a neutral spine. And we'll press the palms together in our Anjali Mudra. And it has been my honor and my pleasure to guide you through this LisaBug practice this morning. Thank you for joining me in the backyard. Thank you for joining me online. Namaste. Have an amazing day. If you can stay with me online for a minute or two, I'll run in and say hello on my other device. Ladies, if you're around for a while, I'll be back out. We can chat when I come back outside. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Have a great day. Okay, let me get my recording shut off here so I don't forget to do that.